Hi guys, and welcome back for another video here at Ricky's Vape Spot. Today we'll be taking a look at the Cubis Pro by Joyetech. So when Joyetech came out with the Cubis a while ago, it really quickly basically became a really popular tank, and I know a lot of people that are using the Cubis. The Cubis Pro is supposed to be an update to the original Cubis version. We'll see that it does come with a lot of extras and with a lot of possibilities for you to play with it. I did get this Cubis Pro tank for the purposes of this review directly from a vape shop here in Zagreb, Croatia, called Untitled Chapter. I will leave all the links down in the description below. So I would like to thank them for the possibility to review the Cubis Pro. It does go on their web shop for 215 kunas, which comes out to around 28 euros or so. What comes in the box basically is the Cubis Pro atomizer, the notch coil with 0.25 ohms for direct lung hits, the BF stainless steel 316 0.5 ohm coil for direct lung hits, the Lvc Clapton 1.5 ohm mouth to lung coil, a mouthpiece, manual and warranty card, warning card, as well as the QCS coil. So you do get 4 coils with this kit. And the QCS coil is basically a quick change system coil. I will get more into details on that later. The tank capacity of the tank is 4 milliliters. So what we're gonna do today basically is take a look at all those coils that come with this kit separately, test them out. I'll tell you how I like them and how they vape, and in the end we'll check out if those coils work in the Ego AIO as well as the old BF RBA heads that came out when the Cubis came out. There's a lot to do, but before we do that, let's just dive down and have a closer look at what comes in the package. Okay guys, and here we are close up and personal with the Cubis Pro atomizer. Let's take a look at the package. On the front we do have the atomizer itself with the coils. On the side we do have Cubis Pro atomizer. Here's the website, Joyetech logo. On the back we do have short instructions on what the Cubis is, what you get inside the box, and the color. This tank also comes in silver, white, blue, burgundy, and orange. Let's open it up and let's check what we have inside. So, open it up. On the top here we do have a warranty card. Here is the tank itself. There's no coil installed. Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later. We do get an extra mouthpiece. Let me just take this out. We do get an extra drip tip here. This one has this spiral inside, preventing spitback. The one that's on the tank itself doesn't have spiral inside. This is the whiteboard drip tip you can use for your direct lung hits. And I suppose the smaller one here, the black one, is for mouth to lung vapors. Underneath we do get some organic cotton as well as a short instruction manual. Here we do have a small tension card, and on the back we do get a small card telling us which coil is good for what, and we do get a small box inside the big box as well, containing some other things. So we do have extra O-rings. It's really weird that they are not inside a plastic bag. Okay, 1 coil, 2, 3 coils, 4 coils. Okay, I have no idea what these are. I will crack them open and see. This is the QCS coil. QCS means quick change system. So what you can do with this coil is you can get it apart like so. So inside there is a notch coil. What you can do with this, it's some type of a rebuildable coil. So you can take out the notch coil, just rewrap the cotton and put it back inside. I will do that a little bit later. I first want to try it out as it comes like it is. The thing is, those notch coils do not have any leads. The notch coil is just placed inside, and how this works is basically the upper part here makes connection with the base here, and this base is actually isolated from the top. So the top gets its connection from up here, okay, and the bottom gets its connection from this little cup, okay. So, and once you basically screw it back in, what happens is it makes connection without any leads going anywhere. So this is actually pretty interesting as a design, and I'm really wondering how this is going to work. So next up we have the Lvc coil. It's a Clapton coil, and this is basically used for mouth to lung hits. And what this Lvc coil has is a button juice flow hole, which you can basically turn and adjust. So if you're using thinner types of liquids, you can close down your juice flow hole here. This doesn't seem to be rebuildable, but I guess you could fiddle around with it if you wish so, taking off the bottom and then trying to place another coil inside. And let's check out what we have in the package here. I actually really wish they would label those things. So this is a stainless steel 31605 DL coil. It does have this protection here on top for preventing spitback. This says it is a direct lung coil, so 15 to 30 watts. The next coil, or the other coil, what you get is a stainless steel 316 0.25 30 to 70 watts. This does have a much finer screen here on top if you would want to compare this to the other coil. This is 0.5 ohms going from 15 to 30 watts, and this here is a 0.25 ohm coil, stainless steel, for direct lung hits from 30 to 70 watts. So now let's take a look at the tank itself. We do have a removable drip tip, and I suppose that any other 510 drip tip will work in here. Then it does have top fill, but what they did different in the Cubis Pro is that you can basically take off the top now and then fill it right in without having to take out the whole coil. We do have airflow control on the top here, and you can actually see how much you can adjust it, okay? I suppose you can take off this ring too. Let me just maybe unscrew this first. Yeah. So, and we can see the airflow here. And you can basically adjust it with this ring. Put it back in. Adjusting it seems pretty smooth, and we'll try it out later, of course. So fully open, and we do have that on both sides, and then closed all the way to one hole on both sides. So what we're gonna do now is basically install a coil, and I think what I will do is go from the lowest to the highest. First we will use this Lvc coil for mouth to lung, and with all those coils you want to prime them for a little bit, so I will just place a few drops of liquid inside the coil. Now I do have the coil primed, and I will put it back on the tank. Okay, this functions basically same as the old Cubis, only now you can actually fill it without removing the whole part here. I'm using a little bit of a thicker juice, so I will leave this hole open here. If you're using something below 50 VG, you might want to try and close it down. So, and to fill it up, you just put your needle nose or dripper or whatever on the side here and fill it up as much as you want. And I will actually use the smaller drip tip that came with it. And today I will be using the vapor flask. I think this is a nice combo actually. Looking pretty good. I think I will give it a shot with 12 watts. So coming out to 1.64 ohms at 4.44 volts, 12 watts. Before I vape on this, let's go back to top and talk a little bit more about it. So, and we're back, and I have the BF mouth to lung coil installed. This is the 1.5 ohm coil with the adjustable juice flow on the bottom. I have it at 12 watts. It's coming out here on the vapor flask light to 1.64 ohms and firing at 4.44 volts, 12 watts. Let's check it out. This is not bad. I don't feel any spitback. Tank is getting a little warm. Vapor production is nice too. Flavor production is okay. Not like your RBA. And as I said, this is at 12 watts. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll take it up to 15 watts. And you can see already there's more vapor coming out, and flavor is getting better for me too. 15 watts is pretty good for this coil, I guess. I will open it up all the way. The draw is now much looser. Can you maybe direct lung hit this? Sure. Okay, it is definitely restricted, and I will try out the other coils too. But before I do that, I just want to take it up to its max of 20 watts. Good. Let's try chain vaping it a little bit. I didn't get any dry hits, but the tank does get warm. The top cap here actually gets pretty hot if you do that. We'll check it out how it works with the other coils as well, but this one is functioning pretty good, and I can really actually recommend it, especially if you're into mouth to lung hits or even restricted direct lung hits. It's pretty good. I will replace this mouth to lung coil with the next lowest coil, and this is the 0.5 direct lung hit coil, and we'll check out how this works. Hi guys, and I'm back, and I've now replaced the mouth to lung coil, which was the 1.5 ohm coil, with the BF 0.5 direct lung coil, and I have it at 15 watts, and let's see what this can do. Okay, I might want to open the airflow all the way. It is a direct lung hit. Okay, at 15 watts it does give definitely more flavor. It's a more open draw. The vapor production is so-so. Of course, this is at 15 watts, so let's get it up to 20 watts. This coil is set to go up to 30 watts, so we'll check that out too. Definitely more clouds. More vapor production. I don't think you will be able to get a dry hit even if you try it at 20 watts. So let's go up to 30 watts and see what this does. Definitely much warmer vape. Not too warm though. I think this coil could even go even higher. What I will do now is I will replace the small bore drip tip with the large drip tip and see how this affects the airflow. So definitely really nice. As you can see, lots and lots of vapor production. I wouldn't say it's too hot of a vape like this. I think it's just right. Flavor production for me personally, especially if you do the direct lung hits, is definitely better with this 0.5 coil, ohm coil, than with the mouth to lung coil. So what we can do now is test it out for dry hits, and I will just chain vape it for a little while, see if this gets any hotter. No dry hits whatsoever at 30 watts. I will not take it higher. Actually, fuck it. Let's take it higher. Let's go to 40 watts. Just see if this works good too. I think it should. 40 watts. Although they say up to 30 watts, but let's go 40. Definitely more vapor production and a much warmer vape than it was at 30 watts. But for what I can say right now, it's keeping up pretty well. This is a higher VG juice, around 70-30, so it's working pretty good. I will go and replace this now with the 0.25 ohm notch coil. So this is a pre-built coil with the notch coil installed. Let me just go and quickly replace the coil and I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, and I'm back. I have now replaced the direct long hit coil, the 0.5, with the notch coil 0.25. It's coming out at 0.29 ohms here, and it is said to be best between 30 and 70 watts. So let me just really quickly go down to 30 watts. I did have a little bit of problems with screwing in the coil. It seems to be shorting out. Something to do with the spitback protection guard that's on top of the coil. But I managed to get it to work. Let's just hope this works well. So that's the notch coil at 30 watts. Let me just go back a little bit. This is a stainless steel coil, but I'm using it right now in wattage. Another thing is you do not want to over drip juice in this coil, because this juice has extremely large juice flow holes on the side. And basically you can overfill it and then you just have flooding. Working pretty good. My mod is getting hot though. Okay, that's it at 30 watts. Let's take it up to 40 watts. Pretty impressive for a stock coil, you know. Vape production is definitely there. I do like the flavor of this notch coils. I think it's an amazing coil. I do have the airflow all the way open. I seriously doubt that anybody with a notch coil would want to close it off. It is meant for direct long hits, so keeping the airflow open will assure that the tank as well as everything else stays as cool as possible. And this is getting already pretty warm at 40 watts. But vapor and flavor are there. So let's go and get it up to 50 watts. Pretty impressive. Now this is already going into my it's becoming too hot vapor. The flavor is good. And as you can see, the room is getting cloudy. Haven't experienced any dry hits until now. But I have to say, I filled up the tank right when I replaced this notch coil, and it's already halfway down. So the juice consumption is rising up. You have to be aware of that. Let's go take it up to 60 watts. Still not getting any dry hits or anything, but as I draw in the vapor, I can feel this top cap getting pretty hot at 60 watts. It's coming right out now to 4.17 volts, which is still okay, and 0.29 ohms at 60 watts. Let's do it again. I do get a little bit of spit back, but it's nothing bad, seriously. Tank is pretty massively hot as well. Let's go up to 70 watts, just for the fun of it. I would seriously never vape it at 70 watts, but let's see, it says it can go to 70 watts. My mod is getting pretty hot already. This is definitely a little bit too much for me, but it definitely keeps up at 70 watts. The tank is pretty hot. You can't even touch it. So let's call this good. And as you can see, the juice level has dropped down again. I don't know. It works. It has nice flavor. Lots and lots of vapor production. When I first put a few drops on the coil, just to keep it wicking, I had some gurgling issues, and when that went away, it was basically okay. So You have to know that if you put too much juice in and then you fire it up at 70 watts, then this juice will definitely come out. All the excess will come out through this part here. So you might want to be aware of that. I would rather suggest you just dropping a few drops on the side, screwing it in, taking a few primer puffs maybe, and just letting it sit there for 2-3 minutes and you should be good. Clouds are there. So the last thing we need to do and is take a look at the QCS coil, quick change system coil. It does have the notch coil installed as well. First what we do is I will do the same thing. I will try and vape it as it comes pre-made in the package, and then we'll try to re-wick it, see how quick and easy that is. Okay guys, I've now installed the QCS coil. Let it wick for some time. The juice flow holes, now this does have a notch coil in it as well, and the juice flow holes are basically same size as on the pre-made notch coils, 0.25, so rather large juice flow channels. So I'm supposing it's wicking as well. What I realized is that once I filled up the tank, can you see the juice level here? A lot of juice actually went already into that coil, so I think it should be pretty saturated right now. Another thing, maybe it's a con, those juice flow holes are sitting pretty high, so I think once you get down below those holes, it's gonna have a problem wicking. So you need to be aware of, if you're using those lower ohm coils with the Cubis Pro, that you do have a liquid bottle and refill it quite often. So 25 watts, notch coil, the QCS coil. Okay, this is definitely missing power. Let's go to 30 watts. I do get a lot of spit back here. And I haven't even primed the coil because you can't prime it unless you unscrew it. Let me try and vape that away. I'm getting pretty hot droplets in my mouth. I'll put it up to 40 watts. It can definitely use some more power. For me personally, it's preforming somewhere same as the notch coil that I had in right before this one. Let's see just if we can do something about this flooding. So it's working pretty well, although what I can say is I will try and let this sit for like half a minute now. What I get from it is as soon as you let it sit for a few minutes is the juice just keeps on building up inside, and I think you get spit back if you let this coil sit for some time. It does get away once you vape it, but what you might want to do with this coil and with the 0.25 ohm notch coil, the pre-made coil, is you might want to use thicker VG liquids, higher percentage of VG liquids with those coils. I'll just go and get this up to 50 watts. I have to say I do get more spit back from this coil than I get with the pre-made coil that has this spit back protection on top. Maybe this could be cleared with some tighter wicking of the cotton inside. Let's go to 70 watts just for the fun of it. Working good. Still have a few questions unanswered, and that is, first of all, can we re-wick this properly in order to get the same results as we have here? And second of all, does the BF RBA head that came with the old Cubis tank work in the Cubis Pro? So, but first of all, let's go dive down and let's re-wick this coil and see what we get. Okay guys, and we're here with the QCS coil. What you have to do is basically take the top, like so, It's pretty slippery from the e-juice. Unscrew the bottom, and you can see the cup in here. The coil is inside here. Take my tweezers and gently remove this notch coil from inside. And you can see it's basically, as I said before, it's just sitting inside with no leads at all. So what you do have to be aware of is that parts of the notch coil have to be visible in order to make connection with the base and with the top. Unfold this. Let's just check out. Okay, here's the notch coil, and this is the organic cotton that's wrapped around it. What I will try now is use some of my own cotton. This is cotton bacon, and I will try to wrap the notch coil into this cotton bacon. Just try to get it as firm and tight as possible. What you basically want to do is keep the center a little bit thicker so it can catch on to the sides. Grab onto the sides here, and then just quickly and tightly tighten this around. I don't think it will have problems with this part here sticking out. I think it's gonna work just fine. So, and all that you have to do basically is just push this in like so, and if you put your cotton around this way, then you want to twist it in counterclockwise so that the cotton gets tight inside. See? And now just use your tweezers and push it back in. I think that should work pretty well. And I'm pretty sure it is quick because this is pretty simple to do. And now just take this, screw it back together, and we got yourself a new coil. Okay, let's put on some juice, like so. I tried to get it a little bit tighter than it was before, but we'll see how this works. Screw back coil on the top cap here, and then screw everything back together. Now I will go back to top and try and test it out and see how this works. Keep your fingers crossed. When you do get your cotton around the coil, what you want to make sure is that no excess cotton is inside the coil. This will prevent the coil from making connection with the coil chamber, if that makes sense to you. So let's give it a try. This is now at 40 watts. Yeah, why the hell not? 40 watts. Spit back. This is it at 50 watts. Working pretty nice. Working pretty nice. So definitely a much better approach, in my opinion, for a rebuildable coil than the BF RBA heads that I was checking out a while ago on my channel. I think it's much easier to re-wick this one than it is the BF RBA head. There's no fiddling with screws or anything. You just take your cotton, wrap it around it, pop it back inside, and you're ready to go. I do get more spitback from this coil than I did get, as I mentioned many times before, with this pre-made notch coil. But it is what it is. I guess if you play around with your cotton enough, you might be able to get it to work just fine for you. Let's chain vape this for a little while and see how it keeps up, okay? Keeping a good, and as soon as you vape it more, the juice that's building up inside the coil goes away, actually vaporizes, so the spitback goes down too. Another question that rises up with using this notch coil as a rebuildable option is that basically you cannot make a notch coil yourself. So how would you clean it out? Maybe install the coil without the cotton around, and maybe dry fire it a few times and then wash it out. Rinse it out under water and clean out all the excess that builds up on the coil, because the surface of the notch coil is actually smooth, and I think you can basically just wipe it away. Some warm running water, I think it should work pretty well. I haven't played around with that much, but I think the coil should be reusable for a long time, basically. There's actually another thing I wanted to try. I have the Ego AIO here, and I want to see if those coils are basically compatible with those coils. I will just do this here live on camera. The coils do seem like they're the same. First of all, I will use the mouth to lung coil. So let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We have some light happening. It's working. I'm actually wondering if you do get some more battery life out of the Ego AIO with this 1.5 mouth to lung coil. And since we're already here, let me just go and quickly put in the 0.5 ohm coil. And yeah, it does fit. It fires up. And working pretty nice. All those coils are interchangeable with the Ego AIO. What I'm gonna do now, because I actually did the video of the BF RBA head just to check out if it fits with Ego AIO. As I said there in this video, the results weren't really that promising. But what I want to do now is basically check out how this rebuildable notch coil, the QCS coil, works in the Ego AIO. And let's just see if this fires up or not. It's pretty... Yeah, it works. The vapor is a little bit hotter, the draw is more closed, it does work. So I'm not sure if Joyetech is planning on selling those coils separately. I have to check out on that. If you know they do, please let me know down in the comment section for other people viewing this. I can actually really recommend this coil more than the BF RBA head. This is the Joyetech BF RBA head. Seems that all those coils are basically interchangeable with each other. This is at 1 ohm, so I'll just get it up to 25 watt. So I can say this is working good as well. If you are more into rebuilding of the BF RBA head, you shouldn't have any problems with the Cubis Pro as well. So what I can say about the Cubis Pro is that it is a pretty versatile tank. If you are on the lookout for a new tank and you wanted to try out the Cubis for a long time, or you had a plan to buy the Cubis, I would highly suggest you to get the Cubis Pro. There's more pros on this tank than there were on the last tank. First of all, you don't have to remove the coil to fill it up. You can unscrew the top cap and then refill it without taking out the whole coil and leaving a juicy mess all around you. This is a rather small tank, as you can see. If I hold it up next to a K-Fun 5, you can see that this definitely is much smaller than the K-Fun. There's a lot of pros with the Cubis. First of all, it's easy to use. Second of all, it does have a rather big juice capacity. It's 4 milliliters of juice. You do get 4 different types of coils. You do get the rebuildable coil. If you're trying to step up your game in vaping, if you're trying to explore new tanks and new styles of vaping, I think the Cubis Pro is definitely one of the best tanks you can go with. First of all, the price point. I got it directly from Parilica HR, and on their website, in the web shop, goes for 28 euros. I think for me this is a steal for this type of tank, and I'm sure you can't go wrong with it. Another thing, the flavor is pretty good. It's not near rebuildable tanks, but it's pretty good for a tank with pre-made coils at this price point. The lower ohm coils, like the 0.25 notch coil, the pre-made one, and the QCS coil, I do get a little bit of spitback, but I think if you're using it at higher wattages, you won't have those problems. Just be aware of that when you're putting those coils inside, and if you're letting it sit for a while on the side, the juice will build up inside and you might get spitback from it. Having that said, if you're on the lookout for a new cheap tank and you want to try out something new, this with evic VTC Mini or with any other mod, I think it's going to give you plenty of options, and I'm pretty sure you will like it. So that was about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did find some of those informations useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you haven't yet, please go and check out my Facebook page, my Instagram account, and my Twitter account. You will find all the links and infos down below. And that's about it. That's about it. I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you again pretty soon with another video here at Ricky's Vape Spot.